Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you will notice in a bit, I have actually done a rebrand for those of you who've been around for a while. So I am formally budgeting for fire, but now I am renaming the channel to My Accountability Tracker. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing my 2024 February budget and some of the little things that go into that. I'm filming in a new way, so if you have any ideas of how I can improve, please let me know. Although, do keep in mind, I'm not particularly advanced. But with that, I'm going to get into my expected income. It looks to be $2,370. I'll actually probably have to cut this video quite a few times to sort of give explanations, because what I really do with the video that you're watching right now is just writing down all the stuff in my budget spreadsheet, and there's actually quite a bit of context that goes into this. However, just the writing alone is about 15 minutes, so I don't know how much time I want this to take necessarily. But there will be a sort of like update to the channel video that I'm going to publish pretty soon as well. So I'll just talk about that as I explain my budget too. However, as you can see here, I'm discussing my bills. So I have rent, I have my electric bill, I have my water and sewer bill, although it hasn't been taken out for the past like 3 months, so I'm just saving the money because I'm kind of scared that they're just going to give me one big ol' bill in like a couple months or so. And then my internet bill. And so as you see at the top, I have an E and an A, so E for expected and A for actual. That'll just be a good way for me to document whether or not something was above or below where it should have been. So then for my spending categories, I have groceries. I also have coffee shops because I like to, get a cup of coffee as a sort of treat. Although recently I did get a cup of coffee. It was like $4 just for like drip coffee, which is like very normal. Coffee should not have cost $4, but whatever. And it was not as good as the stuff I make at home, so that was kind of depressing. Not depressing, but it was kind of sad. I also have a budget for restaurants and then miscellaneous things that might pop up. And then this last one, I was just going to create a subscriptions category, and then I realized I only have one. It's iCloud. I pay for Spotify on a yearly basis now, which is a lot cheaper than the per month option, which is really nice. So at the top, which now is out of view, I guess, I have 2370 as my income, and the reason why I have that is because I'm a PhD student. And so what you might not know about PhD students is that we're paid pennies, even though all of us have bachelor's and sometimes master's degrees. I personally have a master's degree. And my monthly paycheck is 2370 after all my taxes and deductions are taken out. So that's kind of rough to work off of. However, you'll see later that I actually do have other income coming in, and I'll explain that when it gets to that time. But so here you'll see that my rent is $1,420, which is hilariously high in comparison to my paycheck. There's a lot of context that goes behind that, but long story short, it means I don't have to have a car. So I do pay a premium to be in the middle of the city center, but I'm really connected to public transportation, so I just need a free bus pass, which I get from my university, to go to school, work, and the grocery store, and that's really all I go. Maybe I'll get drinks or dinner with a friend, but all my friends have cars, so I just, pay them for gas money out of my miscellaneous budget. So as you see here, my bills are rent, my electricity bill, that's really high. It's because it was freezing last month. It's about $100. Water and sewer, I'm budgeting $85 that I'm just gonna save. Internet is always $55, and then for my total, it's going to be a little over $1,600. And the goal is to keep all of my essential spending, which is what I call this sheet, under my stipend, so 2370. And you might be asking yourself, oh, what about, savings? What about investments? I was formerly a financial independence channel, and I still kind of am, but we'll explain that in a bit. What we'll see is I use my extra income for those goals. So for my spending categories, my goal is to spend at or under $500, and my iCloud is $2.99. And honestly, my goal is to probably cut that subscription pretty soon because I'm just deleting a lot of my media. But we'll see how that goes. It looks like I'm not adjusting the camera, which I'm so sorry about that. but what's cut out underneath is total expenses. And so if you add up all my expected expenses, it's $2,164.31, which is below the $2,370 that I am expecting to bring in, which leaves a little over $200 left actually out of this budget, which is really nice. This is really cringe to watch because I'm just writing out of frame. And I apologize to anyone who's watching this and is thinking, wow, what's wrong with this guy? Probably many things, I don't know, but okay, good, I finally figured that out. And yeah, so the 2,164, that is what I'm trying to keep my expenses at or below, so that way I have $200 to save. This is actually a pretty Spartan budget for me, which is hilarious because I could easily cut $200 from it. Okay, here we go. I finally fixed the angle. I'm so sorry. So at this point, I'm remembering, like, well, I actually work multiple jobs. I make a lot more money than from one PhD stipend, or substantially more, not a lot more, let's say. So for the first job, or for the first income source for this month, it looks like I'm talking about my second job. So I work as a research assistant for full-time for one professor, and then I work as a research assistant for another professor part-time. And then I have my cashback rewards for my credit cards. I do maximize my credit cards as much as possible, and so I'll talk about sort of expectations there. I tutor on the side, and that brings in some money, thank goodness. That's been a very comfortable source of revenue for me. And then my tax return, I did file early because I really only had a W-2 and some interest paperwork from 2023. So I just filed on Free Tax File USA, whatever it's called. It was completely free because I made under $45,000 last year. Because again, I am a PhD student, we don't make a lot of money. So now I'm just sort of slowly looking at my Excel spreadsheet on the side to make sure all my numbers are correct. I expect to bring in $900 post-tax from job number 2, and about $31 from cash back. I don't know where I got that number, but it's been pretty spot on actually. $300 from tutoring and $165 from my tax return. And so this is the money that I sort of pull from to take care of my investments and to take care of my savings goals and to do really anything that isn't for survival, let's say. You know, like obviously I need a roof over my head. I need food in my belly. I don't need iCloud subscriptions actually, so maybe I should rethink how I describe this, but regardless, all this secondary income is dedicated toward my financial goals rather than my, immediate survival, let's say, which is what I use my first income for. So that way, if I ever do lose one of these jobs, God forbid, I'll be able to take care of myself. So for investments, you'll see that I contribute to a Roth IRA and I contribute to a 403b account. The 403b is actually pre-tax, so technically it shouldn't come out of this budget, and I should probably figure that out later. But as you can see, I'm sending a massive chunk of money toward my Roth IRA, so $883.33, and that's because there are 12 months in the year, and the Roth IRA contribution limit is $7,000 divided by 12. That's $583.33. And if you're doing the math in your head, that means I have an extra $300. I probably could have explained that a lot better on the paper, but you'll have to bear with me, and I apologize for that. So that's where I got the $833.33 number, and then I put $150 into my 403b every single month as well. So my total investments will be $1,033.33. And now I'm scrambling to do some math as I realized I didn't calculate the total income that I had for my other jobs besides my primary job. And that will be $1,396.00, and that's the only time I've ever done 0 cents like that. Unsure of how that happened, but here we are. Turning the page, I'm now going to discuss my savings goals and also some, let's say, extra expenses that might pop up that I'm anticipating. Of course, now they say that because I'm filming this on the 3rd of the month. I've already had unanticipated expenses come up, so I'll probably have to find a way to account for that either in the written budget or maybe in some sort of addendum, like some sort of editor's note kind of slide that I'll add in a future video. But so I have quite a few sinking funds. Not quite a few, I have like 4 or 5, I forget, that I contribute to actively. So the first one is annual subscriptions, and what I do is I calculate the annual amount that I owe to, like, various different subscriptions that I pay for. So Spotify is the most important one. That's $99 a month, a year, not a month. Oh my goodness. And then I also have to pay for contacts once a year, which is about $250. I have a couple of things like supplements and skincare as well that I like to put in there. It's a nice little luxury, let's say. And if I save for it once a month, it's actually not too expensive as compared to when I used to drop like $50 a month on skincare products that I ended up not liking and not being able to use and not being able to get my money back on. So I also have gifts and Christmas. I lump it all into one bucket because, quite honestly, no one expects me to get them as gifts because I don't make a lot of money in comparison to what people in my family make, at the very least. And so they're kind of like, take me out to dinner or something like that, not buy me a car. Not that anyone in my family would ever expect me to buy them a car, but you know what I mean. Or maybe you don't, but if you don't know what I mean, feel free to ask me in the comments. So I put $25 a month in for vacation, bulk purchases, and gifts and Christmas. Bulk purchases and vacation, those are pretty self-explanatory as well. But I'd like to take myself on a nice trip when I graduate from my PhD. And that $25 a month will hopefully add up. It's $300 a year. I have about 1 or 2 years left of my PhD, so ideally I'll just have that more as a down payment, let's say. I don't think it's going to fully fund the international trip I have in my mind. I'd actually love to go back to Korea, where I'm originally from, or potentially to Europe. I obviously haven't given it that much thought. We'll see. But so, for my sinking funds, I have $122.21 going to them. And for those of you who don't know, sinking funds represent savings amounts that you have that are meant for a very explicit purpose that are probably going to get spent at some point. So if you know you have a bill that you need to save up for, like insurance. Oh, speaking of which, my renter's insurance is accounted for in my annual subscriptions, for example. So that's what a sinking fund is, basically. Like, I know I'm going to go on vacation eventually. I know I'm going to have to go to Costco at some point. I know I'm going to, well, Christmas happens every year, so I'd like to save up some money for that. So for here, I'm discussing my total expenditures, and I want to sort of aggregate all the data that I have here, all the information. I need to not use my PhD language here. I'm just adding up all of the planned expenses that I have, and planned savings, and planned bills, and so forth. And for my first paycheck, I'm just copy-pasting the number that I had, so $2,164.31 hard-earned pennies will go toward survival. Oh, I really hope my camera focuses on the paper. That's really unfortunate. But please, please, please. Okay, there we go. And then I also have a number for my non-essential spending as well. So $1,155.54 hard-earned pennies will come from my side jobs to go toward my savings and investment goals. And so I presume I'm going to add these all up to sort of show how much money I do have planned to be, let's say, spent or saved or invested or allocated in some way for this month. And I feel like I'm really taking my time and doing the calculation. Oh, never mind. Okay, good on me. I have Excel up all the time, so it is what it is. And so my expenditures, or my planned expenditures, because we're still in the expected column as the month has not happened yet, is $3,319.35, I think is what that's at. And so now I'm realizing, oh, I didn't actually add up all the income that I'm expecting to make this month. So as you see before, the 2370 plus a 1396, I'm going to add that up real quickly on the side. Can't do that in my head. I work with the numbers all day as my day job, and I can't do that calculation in my head. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. My brain is always a little fried. So what we see is what is remaining, or my total income will be the 3766 number that I just wrote down there, subtracting the expenditures of 3319.85. What is remaining is going to be roughly $450 if I'm doing the math in my head correctly. I don't think I'm doing it correctly, but a couple $100 basically. And so I'll spend the rest of the video, about a minute left, discussing what I'll do with that extra money. It's not super duper hardcore planned because I don't know if I'm going to get, $450, okay. I don't know if I'm going to get my tax return this month or next, but basically I have a few extra things that I know I'm going to need or want to spend money on. I misspelled the word money, that's really unfortunate. Again, I have like 5 letters behind my name. But okay, so I haven't gotten a haircut in the new year yet, not since like early December, so I'm looking kind of shaggy. So that'll be probably $40 to $50 depending on if I go to a new place. I also want to donate some money. I typically do between $75 and $100 a month. And then also I like to buy gift cards to help out with some of my credit card cash back. And then I just use those gift cards as part of my grocery budget. So it looks like we're at the end of the video, give or take right now. I have no idea what else I could add. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Oh, what am I doing? I literally just filmed this. How do I not remember this? Oh yeah, any extra money will go to my Roth IRA. Okay. Okay, thank you all so much for making it to the end of the video. I'm incredibly happy that you made it this far. If you like what you're listening to and you aren't already subscribed, please feel free to do so, although obviously it's not, like, forced or anything. If you didn't like this, don't feel obligated to do anything. However, I do want to say that I have a couple of videos coming up. Sorry if you just heard the squeak from my chair. I don't make enough money yet to replace it, but it is what it is. I'm going to come up with a few videos discussing my financial goals, my personal goals, my fitness goals, and my academic / professional goals, because as I mentioned before, I am a PhD student, or actually candidate. I passed the big qualifying exam, so now the only thing I got left is a dissertation, which for those of you who might know anything about a PhD, that is not really an only kind of task. It's a multi-year long adventure. I don't know. But I'm excited because I get to study something I'm really passionate about. And I have spent a lot of time, let's say over the past like 2 years or so, not really feeling like I'm making the progress that I want to. And I'm starting to realize it's because I don't have the accountability partners that I thought I would have. And so I'll make a video that much more eloquently states everything that I'm trying to say, but basically I would really love to use this space as a way to keep me accountable to the goals that I have. And I have quite a few. And some of them aren't really goals that I want to share with people in my life, because as much as I love the idea of not having taboos about money, while I'm okay with talking about money, the people I trust enough to talk about money with are not comfortable having those conversations. And the people that I trust to talk about fitness and not really weight loss, I don't think I want to lose weight necessarily, but fitness goals, are not people who are comfortable having those conversations. And the only person keeping me accountable to my PhD, quite honestly, is my academic advisor. And while he's lovely, he's one person and he's busy. So if I can, get an audience of people who care enough to keep me accountable toward my dissertation goals, toward my academic goals and so forth, that would be wonderful. And obviously I'd like to do the same for people who might want to join this community, however big or small. So thank you all so much for getting to the end of the video. I said that like 2 minutes ago, and this is still going on, so I apologize about that. However, I will say I'll probably have a financial goals video coming up pretty soon, as well as a sort of reintroduction to the channel, as I did make all of my previous videos private, as they're no longer particularly relevant. Also, now that I make a bit of a higher income than I used to, I will be able to talk a bit more about what it is I hope to accomplish with my budget, because as you saw before, in this video, I'm trying to use my main income, the one that I sort of have as a, not guarantee necessarily, but if I don't have it, then I drop out of the program, and I really don't want to do that. That's like a very bad worst case scenario. So obviously, the goal is to always have at least, quote unquote, that $23.70 or so coming in every month, and I want to be able to make sure that I live on that, and any extra money goes directly toward the goals that I have for myself. So yeah, with all that said, thank you so much. Again, please like and subscribe if you feel so compelled, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments below. So thank you. Take care.